Hi guys, welcome back to the Astro Imaging channel. Tonight's session, a very cool session about Prima Luce Labs by Filippo Brasaschia, I believe it's pronounced.
Yeah, quite correct. Very good.
Okay, good. Prima Luce Labs is a European vendor, and I also believe manufacturer of a few different products that we're going to hear about tonight. There's one in particular that I think, I don't know if it's their most popular product, but it's one of those gadgets that we all like to talk about, their mount top computer. But Filippo's basically going to explain that a lot better than I could. So, but of course, before we do that, I want to show off our image of the week. And I am going to screen share. I'm actually on the wrong screen here, but this week's image of the week goes to David Willis for, oops, sorry. For his Heart Nebula, the region within the Heart Nebula, Milot 15, and we may have had one of these a few weeks back, but I just love this region, and I know it's awesome. I'm not going to go into the details of the picture because I want you to go on our website, read about it, leave a comment. We had gotten a few comments, which is nice. It's always good to share what you think. And as always, you can submit them just by hovering over that and clicking Image of the Week Submission, and it'll go there. If you submit it and you don't see your image, I don't know, there's a bug in the program somewhere. Maybe it can't render it properly. But don't worry, I can see your image. There's a bunch of images that no matter what I try, they won't display in the image gallery, even though I see them on the back end of the website. Don't ask me why, but at least I'm seeing them, and I believe that if if I choose them, it's just like choosing any other image, and I'll post them the same way. So don't worry about that. I can get an email on that. Okay, so that's all I've got for now. I'm gonna pull my screen back. Sorry, I've got a million screens open. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it right over to Filippo. Filippo, the camera's yours.
Oh, thank you very much. Hello to everyone, and I'm sorry. I will do my best with both my English and the fact that it is 3:30 here in Italy. So I just woke up very early in the morning, but it's okay. I'm very happy to be here. Today I wanted to show you what we introduced in the NIF 2 years ago, and that we developed during this in the next years, and that is the Eagle family of astro photography computers that we developed. Is okay?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Very good, very good, very good. So I continue. So I take my phone. I'm sorry. I will slightly move the picture, but I wanted you to show what we did, starting with the Eagle 2. We presented the Eagle, the first generation. We met. Yeah, Adam. We met in the NIF last year. And I was showing you the first generation of Eagle. And now we introduced the Eagle 2. This one, you can see there, this is the Eagle 2 control computer that we presented 2 months ago. Essentially is the first computer that is specifically designed for astrophotography, and that include both a powerful computer. I'm not talking about a mini computer here. I'm talking about a desktop class power computer that is packed into a single box that is installed in the telescope, and it comes together with a power distribution port here. You can see, let me see, there you are. These are the power out ports, 12 volts, 3 tension regulated ports here that are for dew heaters controller, and it comes with a lot of USB ports. We have 8 USB ports, 4 are USB 3 and 4 are USB 2. These ports can be remotely operated, so you can remotely connect, turn on and off. This is designed in order to avoid the typical problem that we have with sometimes you may experience also some disconnection from the inexpensive CMOS camera, like the planetary camera that we use for the auto guiding. If you experience a disconnection, what you have to do with a normal computer is to unplug the cable and then replug the cable, a USB cable. What we simply do here with the Eagle is that we can remotely turn on and off the connection without having to go outside to the telescope and reconnect the USB camera. So it's fully remote operated. The advantage of installing on the telescope is that you have all the cables that are running all around your telescope that move together with the telescope. I'm showing you a setup with the Avalon M1 mount here. And as you can see, when I move the telescope, all the cable move together with it. So this is the advantage, and it in order to avoid problem of cable wrapping all around the mount or having problem with the meridian flip, for example. What we do with the Eagle is that we have a remote control of it, performed using the Wi-Fi connectivity. So we have a double Wi-Fi antenna, and you can remotely control the device directly from a computer, or connecting the Eagle to your Wi-Fi network, both in AP mode and a host mode connection capability. And you do in this way. Let me show you. I tried to do this thing, so I hope you can see, because I'm alone in the company right now. Of course I am, so it's not that easy. But what you do is you select the Wi-Fi connectivity created by the Eagle, and then you go to your remote desktop application from any computer, any tablet, any device. You have the remote control of the Eagle. So this moment we are controlling that unit, okay, from my Mac. This is the Eagle Manager. That is the new interface that we added in the second generation of the Eagle. So in the background, you always have Windows 10 Enterprise. So you always have the possibility to install any astrophotography software. Here you have mine. This is my personal unit. So I have all my software like Maxim DL. I have Backyard EOS when I want to control my EOS DSLR camera. I have all the typical classic application that we always use in astrophotography. But here you have also the Eagle Manager, lets you to instantly see how your system is working, is operated, is connected. So you have here we are connected in AP mode. So we have a direct connection between our computer and the Eagle. This is the power consumption. So we connected the SBAG camera that is in the prime focus of the ARRI APO 104T. And we can turn on and off every single device. Here, the 12 volts port lets you see the power consumption of every device. And if I right click, I have the volt, ampere, and the watt of every device. And the history graph let me see how is the power consumption over time. So I can change the name of the device connected. I can connect dew heaters. I can turn on the dew heater, right click, and I can set also the voltage. So if I want to increase the heating, I can increase the port, reset the port, and this will increase the heating of the dew heater. And here you have the four USB 2 ports. The USB 2 ports I can remotely, as I told you before, turn on and off remotely. So if I experience a disconnection, I simply turn off and then turn on again to restart the device automatically without having to be there. Oh, is it clear? Is it okay?
Yes, Filippo, I have one question from chat here.
Yeah.
Does the Eagle 2 make use of scripting or command line functions to control power and USB switching?
Yeah, of course. We integrated, we had an idea when we designed the Eagle 2. Essentially, what we have is an internal web server with the command line with scripts that you can use in order to remotely operated and write your own script if you like. What we are doing actually is that we are talking with different software houses in order to directly integrate the USB 2 port control. Also I talked to Sequence Generator Pro guys, I talked to Voyager software programmer that will allow you to directly control the power out ports from the software, the automation software, astrophotography automation softwares. And yes, you have also the possibility to remotely and to directly, control the power out ports if you want to write your scripts.
Okay. Second question, does the Eagle have an IP rating?
Sorry?
An IP rating. I'm actually not sure what that is. Sal, if you can...
IP rating for the weatherproof capability or something. Yeah, if I'm right. Yeah, it's one of the questions that a lot of people ask me. So when I put this unit in the field, can I be sure that essentially the problem is the dew won't create any problem during the use? And what we experience is essentially that the Eagle is not a waterproof device like the latest generation smartphone, for example, because it has the screws, it has the holes, the ports, but for the dew, there is not a real problem because when you turn on the Eagle, the heating generated by the internal processor essentially prevent the dew formation. So in 2 years that we sell it and we use it from 4 years because we use that as a prototype from many years more, and we never had problem with dew formation on the Eagle.
Okay.
Filippo, I have a question.
Yeah.
So does Eagle 2 also work as a dew controller? So since it has dew heater outputs,
yeah.
Can it run a dew heater without a dew controller?
Yeah, you don't need for it. Just let me show you. The dew heater here is directly connected to the Eagle. Okay, you see here, these are the 3 tension regulated ports. So you can set the tension here and you can directly connect. I connected the dew heater for the main telescope and one for the guided telescope. They are directly connected to the Eagle, And this way you can use the dew heater without dew heater controllers.
Okay, thank you. And I have a follow-up question on that. How many 12-volt amps altogether can the Eagle handle?
Up to 16 amps. This is the power import. So you can, the rightmost is the power in. So you can, you have up to 16 amps here. The power outputs have 3 amp, 8 amp, 8 amp maximum for every single port. So essentially what, as we did here, just for an example, we connected the SVAG camera. So the SVAG camera is powered from one of the 8 amps ports. So we have 8 and 8. Essentially, one is always used for the cooling system of the CCD cameras, and the other 3 and 3 amp port are used for other. For example, this is powering the Cisco Sensor motorized focuser controller here. I want to show you that later if you like.
It's really interesting that the dew heater's on built into there. The fact that we always had to buy a dew controller drove me nuts, and having it integrated. I mean, basically, everything you need is up there.
Yeah, that's the idea behind all the Eagle families. So the having not to install, we perfectly know that there are in the market and are very inexpensive computer that you can install on top of your telescope. Then you can install a hub port USB replicator. You can install other also power ports replicator all around your telescope. But what you get at the end is a lot of boxes with a lot of cables that connect each other. You have a perfect integration of one single system that has all you need for astrophotography. So this is the idea behind everything.
And it's bolt on to those dovetail rings. Do you have alternate mounts? I'm trying to think, like if you have an SCT or an RC.
Yeah, of course. What you can do is, let me take, if you want to, this is one of the ways that you can connect the Eagle, okay? So we designed one way that is between the guiding rings and the support rings. And the Eagle has a unibody, all CNC made case that behaves like a bar. And this way you can install and use really like a bar to create a perfect stable without flexure system. The other way is that if you want to connect it directly on a dovetail bar, Losmandy or Vixen style, you can simply add our dovetail clamp on the Eagle, because the Eagle, as you can see, has a lot of threaded connection here. Okay, I hope you can see there, and
yes,
on top and the bottom. And you can connect any of our plus system parts, like the clamp, and then you can clamp it directly on any Vixer or Losmandy bar. This is perfect for SCT telescopes, for example.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. A lot of, like you said, a lot of people have do-it-yourself versions of this, but they all have that same issue where they're either Velcroing or zip tying a whole bunch of stuff to the top. And it's funny with all the equipment we have, and that wire cluster. That wire cluster is always the ugly thing on it. This really limits that.
Yes, yeah. Is there a question?
Was that a question? I don't know where that came from. I don't think so. Okay, I got another question. Can the memory and hard disk be removed or replaced if necessary with this particular unit?
Yeah, essentially, the Eagle comes in two different configuration. All of them has the same features, but the Eagle 2 Pro has a higher frequency processor with more RAM memory and more SSD space. Both of the Eagle 2 and Eagle 2 Pro has the SSD drive, so it's very fast. One is 120, the other one is 256 gigabyte of space, and you can also change if you like. Is not a big problem.
I mean, it's just a computer, so
Yeah.
it's accessible. So you can
So
switch it.
how do you power and connect to the mount?
So if you want to power the mount, you have simply, what we do is that we built a lot of different power cables. This is a power cable. Let me show you. If I go to my warehouse, we have a small warehouse just behind of our laboratory, so I can show you where we build the Eagle. We build the Eagle one by one in this lab. We are here, and well, these are some of the products ready for shipping. And oh, there you are. This is fun. I'm sorry, but this is a bunch of cable, as you can see. And on one side, all the cable has the Eagle type connector. On the other side, we have different type of connectors. So let me take one just as an example. You see, we have all the different cables that comes with the Eagle type connector on one side. On the other side, they have the connector of the device you want to control. So essentially, when you order the Eagle, you request also the cables, or you can build also yourself. But you request the different cables that can power the mount also from one of the power out ports. So essentially, the idea of this is having a single power in cable, that is this one in this case. Here we connected, since we are in my laboratory, we connected the AC adapter here that is powering from this cable. You see, from this cable we are powering not only the Eagle but all the other devices. So the CCD camera, the Cisco Sensor, if you want to power the mount, whatever. So you will always have a single powering cable that goes from the AC adapter battery to the Eagle and then to all the other devices.
Filippo, I have another question.
Yeah.
This is actually from a friend of mine who owns the Eagle 2 Pro.
Yeah.
He's actually asking a live question. I'm going to read it right out to you.
Yeah.
How can I connect my OneDrive with Eagle's OneDrive? Prima Luce has their Windows login set and suggests not changing it. I would like to change the OneDrive login to his own. He wants to sync his own OneDrive account.
Sorry, I can't understand very well. What does it need to connect to the Eagle 2?
Right. So you're familiar with OneDrive, right? Microsoft OneDrive.
Yeah.
He wants to sign in to his own account.
I don't think is a big. Is there any? No, he can do that. He's not because on the Windows side of the Eagle is a special Windows installation that we developed in order to keep all the things running as smoothly as possible, but is 100% compatible Windows license installation. So whatever you want to install, you can. So if he wants to connect to OneDrive and having the Eagle 2 connected to the internet, for example, when you connect the Eagle 2 with the host functionality with the host, you simply connect the Eagle to your Wi-Fi connectivity, with your Wi-Fi home connectivity, for example, and then you are also connected to the internet. So you can install your OneDrive client and set your username and password, and you're done.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question from a user of the Eagle. In the advanced settings panel, there's a selection for COM port. What exactly is that for?
For what? Sorry, for?
The COM port. COM port?
Yeah. Because internally, the Eagle 2 has a board that distributes both power and also adds some, as also the remote control of the USB 2 port here. And this is performed through a COM port, an internal COM port. The COM port settings essentially tells to the computer part of the Eagle how to connect and control the power ports and the USB 2 ports. That is essentially this is what is talking about. So let me go here. I hope we are back in my computer. So if you click on advanced settings here, you see COM here. This is the COM port that is connected to the internal board that distributes the power and that takes control of the remote on and off of the USB ports here.
I think then more generally, Larry's probably asking, should he touch that setting or should he leave it alone?
No. It's okay as it is. It's not.
Okay.
If you change that, what you will see is that you lose the control on the right part of the Eagle Manager, so the ports are no more clickable, and you simply have to come back and set the right port.
Okay.
Oh, one important feature that I forgot to tell you about is the power consumption. Since with the Eagle, we can check in real time the tension in, that is actually 12.6 volts, you see here, and the power consumption of every device. This means that we can, at the beginning, when we launch the Eagle, it asks us if we have an AC adapter or if we are powering through a battery. And if we are powering through a battery, it asks us for the power capacity. And this means that he can check in real time, and you can see in real time, he can check the power consumption, and it tells you the battery life, the lifetime of your battery. And this is a cool feature that we designed in order to have you not to be worried in the field for your battery usage.
That is very cool. That's very convenient. I never have any confidence in the little LED light battery testers that are on my battery box.
Yeah, that's one of the features that we were able to integrate, because we have a single box that takes care of everything. And having this thing, you can have the instant control of all your devices, not only connectivity, but power consumption, power in, power out, everything.
Does the Eagle provide a solution for focus control?
Yeah, it has with our Cisco Sensor, that is this unit. So I can introduce also this. Can you see this? There you are.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not. It's not that easy with a single, but it's okay. This is the Cisco Sensor. The Cisco Sensor is the what we call the robotic focuser controller that is directly connected to the focuser of the telescope. It can be connected to any external focuser with directly instead of the micrometric knob. And we designed the Cisco Sensor to have, you see, it has a USB port, so it can be controlled from any Windows computer, but this is a perfect match for the Eagle, of course. So it has a USB port connected to the Eagle, and of course the power port is also powered through the Eagle. The Cisco Sensor is designed to be connected to a lot of different focusers, like our focusers here, the hybrid drive. You can connect to the Bader focuser, the steel track. You can connect to Starlight, to the Feather Touch focusers. And it is designed to be directly clamped on the 25mm shaft that usually is on the 2 inches or 2.5 inches. We are working also now on an adapter in order to connect to larger shaft focusers. And since it connects directly on the focuser small shaft, it is very precise. We can reach precision below one micron. And this is a unit that is especially designed for astrophotography. If you like, I would like to introduce you this is a preview on what we are doing. So essentially, let me see if yeah, that's the monitor. I would like to show you the new software we are working in. So this is the new application of Cisco Sensor. Can you see it properly? Yeah, I hope so.
Yes.
And the new Cisco Sensor software, this is the 2.0 version that we are going to release soon. It allows you to set all the focuser parameters. So you can set the acceleration, run acceleration settings, and all the advanced parameters, but it comes also with a very easy to use application where you simply connect to the focuser and you have a configuration wizard that allows you to set the focuser. It tells you, okay, move the focuser in a halfway position, then move the focuser in the innermost position, then move the focuser in outermost position, and so you have the configuration done for the Cisco Sensor. It's very easy and is a standalone application that allows you to take control of the focuser itself. And the Cisco Sensor comes also with an ASCOM driver, so you can connect with any astrophotography software. We have already a lot of users using that with Maxim DL, Sequence Generator Pro, or whatever software you like.
Let's see. Someone is asking another technical question about the power consumption. Edmund has a watt meter on his battery. Over a night of usage, the Eagle 2 tells him he's used 140 watt hours, but the watt meter says 210 watt hours. Why the discrepancy?
Oh, we had maybe Edmund is asking that because I got his email, and actually we are checking that because the internal electronic that we have in the Eagle board is very precise. So we need to understand if this is maybe due to software calculation. That's what we do here when we let me see. When we have this is the part we are talking about, but this is a preview. So there is a very simple formula, math formula, that allows us to give a preview on the battery usage and the lifetime. And of course, what we can't be is very, very, very precise on the battery lifetime because we have not a direct connection so from the battery to the Eagle, except for the tension. But there is no electronic in your battery that allow us to directly ask the battery status, you see? And this is why we have to make a sort of medium value of the power consumption and represent it in the Eagle itself. But we are checking that, and during this week we will develop. Maybe it's a problem due to the math or something like that, and we will release a new Eagle Manager version with improved calculation of the battery life.
Okay, so it's something you're looking into, and I'm sure, as with all Astro products,
Yeah,
there's going to be people that discover something and just needs a little tweak.
of course, and this is very important for us. So we always really enjoy the fact that we have a lot of users that ask us how to improve or give us a little suggestion. And we are all astrophotographers, so that's very important for us to get new and more feedbacks from all around the world in order to improve it, and we are doing so. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Filippo,
Yeah.
there's a question from Yuri Abraham. He's asking if Cisco Sensor, does that need a controller, or is the controller built into the motor?
No, you don't need an external controller. The Cisco Sensor essentially has a, let me see if I can frame it. Yeah, it is a motor in the bottom part. In the higher part, there is the built-in controller. So you can directly control and connect it to the USB port of your computer or of your Eagle. So you don't need an external controller. We designed that just to be very easy, compact, without the need of other controller, because having all integrated in the Cisco Sensor allow you to remove also cable. We see a lot of external focusers that has external controllers, so you need cabling from the motor to the controller, and then from the controller to your computer or to your Eagle. And having everything in the Cisco Sensor remove all the other cables.
Edmund's other comment is that he's noticed this uses a lot less power than running the laptop, which the laptop is the big power consumer when you're out remote.
Yeah.
Once your battery dies, which mine dies after a couple hours. So.
Yeah, I still remember when. Well, if I can give you a fun story, is that the Eagle design comes from our direct experience being astrophotographers here, and we live in the plains, so we have to go to the mountains in order to find good sky quality. And I was imaging with my friend that is also is the Eagle designer, that is Omar, and we had a big telescope, and we had two computers, two laptops to control all the devices, and so you can imagine how big it was, the battery, in order to run everything from the mountain in beautiful location. But the battery was something like 120 amps, I think. It was fully occupying my car in the back. And so one night, we drove the car up to the mountains, around 2 hours of driving. And then we arrived on the top of one, and we started installing the telescope. And after 1 hour, everything was ready, but we missed one cable. So we forgot one cable at home, and we did nothing because we missed that cable. I can't remember what cable, but what I remember is that we had to uninstall everything and then come back. So I told Omar, listen, is there a way in order to do this better? And we wanted to have a smaller battery. We wanted to have a very more reliable system in order to do astrophotography. And that's where the Eagle idea comes from.
I think we've all done that at least once. Either the cable or the counterweight, or there's something that we're gonna forget.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so
with the advantage of the Eagle is that since it's installed, yeah, you correctly told about the power consumption. The medium power consumption for the Eagle 2 system is only 0.6, 0.8 amps per hour, and compared to a normal laptop that may use 3, 4, 5, 6 amp per hour, less. And so this can be powered from a very small lithium batteries, for example, 12 volts. They are perfect. And one of the other advantages is that you can move the entire telescope with the Eagle installed on the telescope. So you don't need to uninstall the Eagle, uninstall the guiding telescope, and remove all the cable. You can go in the field with all the parts already installed in the telescope. So you simply open your mount and you put all the telescope with the Eagle all together. And this is very fast. This is a very fast way in order to do that.
Yep. Now, Alex is asking a question. What do you use to monitor it? What kind of monitor do you suggest using?
Oh, well, you can use whatever you want because it comes with a remote desktop feature built in. Essentially, what you have is that, let me show you, because you saw that I installed I'm controlling the Eagle from my Mac here, because I installed the remote desktop application here. But if I want, I hope I can give you a quick view on that. So what I do is I have my iPad here. Okay, this is a normal iPad, but I could do with any smartphone, also Android devices. What you do is you simply go to the Wi-Fi and you select, can you see that? Yeah, the Eagle 2 Wi-Fi, and it will connect to the Eagle 2. And then you simply go to the remote desktop application, and I hope you can see there. Yeah. And what happened is that the disconnection is no more, the connection is no more available in my Mac here, and I will see my Eagle here in my iPad. You see?
And because that done through a Wi-Fi server, you don't need internet. You're
Yeah,
just
you don't need it.
directly hooked right up to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can use whatever device you want. If I want to simply reconnect my Mac now, I have here. So I simply select. I have the Wi-Fi here operated to the Eagle 2, and then I go. Let me show you. There you go. I go my Mac, so the image disappeared from my iPad, and I have the Eagle back in my Mac. And I can do this thing from whatever device I want, also from the smartphone. If you want to be well, I used to control my personal Eagle from my iPad because it has a very good portability, but still a good screen dimension, because you will see, you will have the typical astrophotography software in it. So essentially, you will see some small buttons, and if you have a very small device like a smartphone, it will be harder to use the user interface of the astrophotography software, but you can do that.
I think Alex's question was probably just answered there. How hot does it get? Enough to disperse do long-term moisture issues with connections, USB ports? I think you answered that a little bit before. Maybe just go back about how the heat disperses the dew and whether moisture is an issue.
Yeah, we have in the Eagle, we have, let me show you, a small here. I hope you can see. Here there is the port for the van. How is it called in English? Is the I can't remember maybe it's the fan. Sorry,
Yeah.
fan. That is not vibrational. So what we tested also in the high resolution planetary imaging, and this is not adding vibration to the telescope. So when you use a very complex astrophotography software that needs more power from the processor, sometimes you will hear the fan activating, and this will dissipate the heating, the excess of heating. But during a nighttime use, there is not, you can simply, if you put your hand, you will slightly feel some heating on the Eagle, but is very, very low.
Okay. And Edmund is saying he lives in a Chicago suburb where it's very wet, and he hasn't had any dew problems at all with it. Yuri is asking, what's the average distance of the Wi-Fi signal?
Well, it depends on what you have between you and the Eagle. Essentially, it's the same problem that we have in our houses. I use the Eagle personally with a distance up to 60 meters far away. This is, and I always say it's around 60 meter is the maximum distance. Of course, if you have a lot of walls between you and the Eagle, the distance reduce.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, I think we're caught up with the questions. It seems like an awesome product to me. We have in chat mentioned a few of your U.S. distributors for it. Why don't you tell everyone in the U.S. where they can get it, and maybe tell everyone overseas where they should get it from?
Oh, we have in U.S. we have Woodland Hills Camera and Telescope that is distributing that, and we have more and more dealers that are selling the Eagle 2, and I think also Tolga starting selling them, and so you always have a US-based support just in case you need something.
Great.
And of course, maybe you will see me because I'm often traveling to US for trade show, for events. So if you want, we can meet. It's always fun.
Yep. And NEAF is not that far off. So, and NEAF is not that far off.
Yeah. I will be there. I will be there.
Yeah, only a few more months. Yeah. Awesome. Anything else you wanted to show off, Filippo?
Oh, would you like to see the Eagle core?
Sure.
This is that unit. This is the core unit. Oh, sorry. Okay, there you are. It's not that easy to to have. I would like to have a cameraman or something like that. This is the core unit. So essentially, with the Eagle, and that you see the Eagle 2, we designed a system that is designed for advanced astrophotography. But with the same design in mind, we have designed something that is easier to use for people starting in astrophotography. And we know that people most of the time start in astrophotography with DSLR cameras and set up like this one. So you see a small, this is the Iris Black ATT refractor. This is a triplet with the Eagle core and the guiding system with a Canon EOS camera here. And what people used to have is the normal laptop computer with the typical astrophotography software like Backyard EOS or PhD guiding. And we see every day a lot of people struggling with the astrophotography software because they are not used to. So we thought, okay, we could design a special version of the Eagle that is designed to be as easy as possible to use. And that's the Eagle core. Since it's designed not with the windows inside, it has our own astrophotography software that can control this DSLR camera and control the auto guiding. And with a very easy to use software interface, you can do both application with the Eagle core that is performing both for you. So maybe it's better to, you see the device is similar to the Eagle, so it has a Wi-Fi connectivity. Okay, so you can directly connect as you do with the Eagle, and then you have the power out ports to power, for example, the DSLR camera, to power the mount, and it is designed and to be connected in the same way using the same connectors, the same clamps that we use in the Eagle. The difference is that, let me see, if I go to my iPad, I have, instead of connecting to the, let me see, I connect to the Eagle core, okay? And then instead of having the remote desktop application, we have our app where you directly see, this is the Eagle core interface. So I have the guiding tab. Can you see that? I'm framing it correctly, okay? The guiding tab where you see here all the stars, the guiding stars in real time. Directly click on the star. Here there is nothing because it's connected to that unit. And you can start the calibration and start the guiding. And you will have the guiding graph and the guiding picture in real time as you would have with a PhD guiding software, for example. And then you have the acquisition, so it's not connected to anything right now, but here you have the number of pictures you want to record, the length of exposure, the ISO setting if you want to start dithering, and focus, feature, and start the acquisition. So essentially, and here you have the preview windows where you have the picture in real time. So essentially, this is a system that we designed based on the Eagle idea that is designed for people starting in astrophotography.
Very cool.
And this is also really cheaper than the, I should say, American friends told me that I don't have to say cheaper, but that is slightly different. But this is inexpensive.
More affordable.
More affordable, yeah. And that's one of the things that people starting, of course, like, because they want to start and they don't want to spend a lot of money just to start, and how astrophotography is. And so that's why we designed this system for.
Awesome. Well, thank you for showing off all of your products. I just think the Eagle's really cool. I never felt quite comfortable strapping a do-it-yourself computer on my mount. I've spent so much on all my equipment that simplifying it by having an all-in-one device that does everything and kind of is astrophotography specific really makes sense. It's definitely a cool product. No, Alex, there's nobody there with him handling the camera. It's just him. So he's the cameraman and the presenter all in one. Yeah, thank you for coming. If I don't see any questions out there, if you have nothing else, then I'm just going to say thank you one more time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It was very, very fun, and we see you in the NIV.
Yes, I'll definitely be there. And good luck with this. I think you're going to be successful with this because I'm really interested. And it's, making a system simpler, just eliminating all the dangling wires and all the redundant units. So thank you, Filippo. Thank you all out there for coming. We will get a session scheduled sometime mid this week for next week so you can see what we're doing in advance. Otherwise, it'll be an open session, and we still have fun with those. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next week. Good night, guys.
Thank you.